Okay, kids, it's Miss Leon. We've been learning about adding multi-digit numbers, and we talked about the different properties and the different strategies. Yesterday, we talked about the commutative property, where it says that the numbers can be added in any order and the answer would stay the same. I gave you guys the example of 5 plus 7 or 7 plus 5. Either way that you put the 7 and the 5, you're going to get 12. So the answer isn't going to change, so it's completely fine. Then we have the associative property. I'm going to move that one out of the way. The associative property is kind of like friends hanging out. That was the example that I gave. At first, the 4 and the 3 are hanging out, and then the 8 comes later, and then the answer is 15. Or you can have the 4 and the 3 and the 8 are hanging out first. Then you add the 4 in, and your answer is still 15. Either way, your answer is 15. So the associative property states that addends can be regrouped and the answer, the sum remains the same. So it has like friend A and B and then friend C comes later, or you can flip that around. And then the identity property says that the 0 is like looking into a mirror. When you look into a mirror, you see your reflection come back at you. So like 2 plus 0 equals 2, and so on and so forth. So the identity property is like looking into a mirror. So now today we're going to get to the best part. Everybody's families and parents will love this. We are going to be using algorithm. It's called Your Mama's Math. That's how I name it. So when you're doing the algorithm, you need to make sure that you line up the place values. It's super important that you do so, that you line up the ones place with the ones and the tens place with the tens and so on. So right here I have 123 plus 15. And I have the 15 lined up in the wrong spot. This is not how this looks. But right here, I said 123 plus 15. The 3 in the ones place and the 5 in the ones place are lined up. The 2 in the tens place and the 1 in the tens place are lined up. That is how you correctly do this problem. Now I'm going to give you an example of how we're going to be adding a number lining up the place values. As you noticed, I have created a place value chart. It is so important that either way, if you're doing the break apart method like we used yesterday, or if you're using the algorithmic method, that you are honoring those place values. That's the number one thing. So in this table, I've lined up to 24,595 and 19,255. When you start adding these numbers, you first have to start adding at the smallest place value. So the smallest place value is the ones place. And here, as you notice, I have added 5 plus 5. It's the smallest place value, which is 10. It's 0 ones and 1 10. I've regrouped it. I've done 1 plus 9, which is 10. That made an even 10, plus 5, which is 15. So I have 5 tens, and I regrouped to have 100. I have 100 plus 500 plus 200. So 1 plus 5 is 6, and 6 plus 2 is 8. So that is 8 hundreds total. There's nothing to regroup, so I do not regroup. Now I go to the next smallest place value, which is in the 1000s. And I have 4 plus 9, which typically equals 13. So 4,000 plus 9,000 is 1,300. So I go ahead and I add 4 plus 9, and that is 13. I put the 3 here and I regroup. The 10,000, the 1 in the 10,000s place up here. So 1 plus 1 is 2, and 2 plus 2 is 4. I have 40,000. So your answer is 43,850, and I worked from the smallest place value all the way to the left. So I'm going to go ahead, and I want to keep that in mind, that once I finish here, I move here. Once I finish at this spot, I go from here and I go this way. Once I finish in the 100 spot, I move to the left to the 1000 spot. And once I get from the 1000 spot, I move from here and I go to the 10,000 spot, so on and so forth. So step 2 Start at the smallest place value and work your way left, like I showed using the arrows. But here's the last part. What if you get your answer wrong? Because sometimes that happens and you guys don't even realize that your answer is wrong. So what can we do to help ourselves figure out if our answer is right or wrong? A way that you can check your work to see if it's right or wrong is to estimate. So we have the numbers that we just did in our addition problem, 24,595 and 19,255. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write these numbers off to the side. And I have to estimate. Estimating is like rounding. It is similar to rounding, but it is not always the same. So I found my place. I am going to round to the nearest 1,000, okay? So I found my place right here. And then I looked next door. And is this 5 or greater? Yes, it is. So it is 5 or greater. So I'm going to add one more here. So the number in the front stayed the same. I needed to add one more. The numbers in the back, 1, 2, 3. 0 is your name. Just like with 19,255, I found the place. I am rounding to the nearest 1,000. Found the place. I look next door. Is that 5 or greater? It is not. So I'm not adding one more. The number in the front stays the same. So I kept that number the way it was. The sign does not change. Stays the same. Numbers in the back. 1, 2, 3. 0 is your name. So now that I have those two numbers estimated to the nearest 1,000, I'm going to add them up. 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 0, 0 plus 0, 0. 5 plus 9 is, okay, 5,000 plus 9,000 is, 14,000. So I drop my 4 and I regroup the 1, okay? I have 1 plus 1 is 2, and 2 plus 2 is 4. So my estimated answer is 44,000. And you know what? We're using that because our real answer should be close to 44,000. When I did this problem, I found out that my real answer was 43,850. And is that close to my estimate? You bet ya. It is absolutely close. So I know that this answer that I found when I did the original problem, it is reasonable. It is a reasonable guess that this would be a correct answer because it is close to the estimate. So we have two ways that we have done adding. We've done the break apart method. We have done the algorithm method, which is your mama's math. And then we have used estimation to check and see if we are correct. I would like you to try to use these models when you are doing your additions problems so that way you can get fluent in your math